cultural values, the use of symbols and nonverbal communication. In MY2, we explored different symbols, the use of them in artworks, artifacts, and in society at large. In this unit, you will explore symbols from your own culture, and we will also look at symbols in indigenous cultures. Now, what are cultural values? Cultural values are very easily seen in artwork. For example, in religious periods, in many cultures, we'll have a huge number of religious paintings, obviously showing the value of the religion in that culture and at that particular time in history. In some Asian cultures, paintings and sculptures will reflect the respect that people had for their emperors and ancestors. Simple things like this are clear examples of nonverbal communication reflecting cultural values. After this presentation, we will take a look at two different cultures. The Sami cultures in northern Norway, in Sweden, Finland, and Russia, and the Haida culture, North American First Nations off the coast in British Columbia, Canada. Now consider your own culture. What culture do you belong to? You may feel connected to two cultures or even more. Brainstorm your culture with the values that are important to your culture, for instance, independence, loyalty, etc. Here you may need to research your culture to understand where it originated from. Research into symbols from your cultures and how these can represent your values. Find existing images either on the internet or draw them and put them in your book with the value that they represent, and annotate the images that you have found. Comment on the use of line, texture, color, and shape. I would recommend that if you have one culture that you try to find 3 symbols, but if you have 2 cultures, then 2 of each culture. Now, write a short summary of your research findings using the following questions. Conceptual: how can values be expressed through symbols? Conceptual: what is cultural identity? Factual: what is a symbol? Debatable: are symbols subjective, and depending on opinion, are they a good tool to represent values? Debatable: are symbols from other cultures understood by those from another culture? Are cultural symbols universal? Indigenous culture. Indigenous people are the holders of unique languages, knowledge systems and beliefs, and possesses invaluable knowledge of practices for the sustainable management of natural resources. They have a special relation to and use of their traditional land. After watching videos on the Sami culture and Haida, First Nations Canadian, do some research into other indigenous cultures as well. Choose one that you wish to look further into. The origin of symbols. Please find 3 symbols from this indigenous culture and choose one to research into some depth. What does it represent? How is it being used in rituals, artwork, artifacts? Comment on the use of line, color, shape, positive and negative space. Is it being used in a different way today? Political art, advertising, are these uses ethical and well documented? Please discuss. Now, here is an example of where cultural appropriation is okay, where it is correct to use it. And this is seen by First Nation artist Brian Youngin. He's born in British Columbia. He did a political commentary by using and dismantling Jordan Nike Air sneakers and mimicking Haida masks. Being from this culture, he is actually in a position to draw a comparison between Western material fantasies and the romanticized view of the other in settler societies. Okay, so to the task, this should also be in OneNote. You will research and find symbols from your own culture and use the questions to guide your findings. Then you will find one indigenous culture to look further into. Describe the culture and land on one symbol that you explain the meaning behind, its use and visual qualities. Look into ways the symbol may be used in modern culture.